Okay, well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the ACI-LAC webinar. Does your airport have what it takes to create a unique customer experience? That we are delivering in collaboration with our world business partner, Munich Airport International. That will be sharing a number of areas to be considered by airports to meet with the rising passenger expectations. Before starting, I would like to introduce the two speakers that will be participating today. Ellen Geismeyer, a consultant from Munich Airport International, Alejandro Villela, senior consultant, same in Munich Airport International. Before starting, we would like to share some housekeeping instructions. As you know, we always have a simultaneous interpretation in our webinars. It's very easy to activate it. You have to select or click in the interpretation icon that you will find in the Zoom menu and select the channel of your preference. We always encourage you or invite you to select the last option that says unmute original audio or mute original audio to avoid listening to the speaker and interpreter at the same time. Regarding the questions, the Q&A session will take place at the end of the presentation, and we invite all the participants to send their questions to the email address that you will find on the screen, info@acilac.aero. The chat function will not be enabled, so we invite you to send the questions to the email address that you find on the screen. Without further ado, we would like to pass to our speakers. Ellen, over to you.
Thank you very much for your kind introductory words, Francisco. A very warm welcome from our end as well, and thanks for having us in today's ACI-LAC webinar. We are looking forward to an interesting hour and an interactive Q&A session. Next slide, please. Kindly let me present to you today's agenda. We will start with an introduction of Munich Airport International as a global airport operator. We will then continue with the immersion to customer experience. Afterwards, my colleague Alejandro will touch upon the airport's challenges, and we will close with a joint conversation on the airport tools and many examples from Munich Airport. Next slide, please. Let's start with an introduction of who Munich Airport International is and what we're doing. Our home base is Munich Airport, which is Europe's first and only 5-star airport. In 2019, we accounted for 47.9 million passengers and 417,138 air transport movements. As you can see on the pictures, everywhere around the airport, passengers get to experience Bavarian culture and roots. For example, in our famous own beer garden, or when Bavarian musicians come to the airport. Next slide, please. We are an award-winning and truly customer-centric organization. We have been ranked Best European Airport by Skytrax for 13 times in the past 15 years, as well as World's Best Airport in the range of 40 to 50 million passengers. As you can see on the bar chart on the left-hand side, the airport service quality has increased from 2009 to 2019. Also, the proportion of excellent and very good ratings has increased significantly over the course of time. We have developed our own measurement system in order to rate our customer experience. ASQ and Skytrax are included in them. We have a team of 5 people who is working continuously on that, and it took them about 3 years to develop this measurement system, and there was a certain budget assigned to that. Next slide, please. Since we have developed from a consultant company to a global airport group with different concessions, we are very pleased that we are given the opportunity to transfer our approach to make customers and passengers happy each and every day to customers worldwide. The opening of the airport in 1992 was the basis of our consulting services when we invented ORAD. And meanwhile, we are proud that we are operating terminals and airports, for example, in New York and Sofia. Next slide, please. We have delivered over 110 projects in more than 40 countries all over the world. And most importantly, we have been in the Latin American region for quite a long time already. And this region, Latin America, Caribbean, is as important to us as is Asia. As you can see on the map, our team is also very international and diverse. My colleague Alejandro is from Spain, and I'm from Germany. Next slide, please. Let's start with today's topic now and immerse in customer experience. Next slide, thanks. Well, as you know, the traffic volume of an airport is highly dependent on many influencing factors. Those factors in the end determine the traffic growth. The slide shows different factors, for example, landside development, transport connections to or from the airport, operational know-how, and customer experience. This shows that customer experience in the end is not just a nice-to-have factor, but it is essential for traffic growth next to all the other factors. Next slide, please. It is important to understand what customer experience is all about. So before we are looking at practical examples in the end, let me start with some theory first. So generally, customer experience is the combination of customer perceptions, customer feelings, and customer interactions. The expectations and demands of passengers have increased drastically over the course of time. Depending on the travel reasons, expectations and needs are different. For example, a businessman who is on a business trip has other demands than a family with small children who's departing to their annual vacation. But in the past, air travel has been an exceptional experience, whereas nowadays it has become commonplace, which means that passengers have gained many experiences, they are better informed, and they tend to look at the services provided more critically. Customer experience can be divided into 3 levels: required, expected, and valued. I will talk about this in detail in a minute. In regards to airport operations, a minimum level has to be fulfilled. And this minimum level usually complies with the local, regional, national, and international regulations. But in order to stand out and to differentiate the services, the minimum level may not be sufficient anymore, and therefore the airport has to go the extra mile. And last but not least, it is important for the airport to engage a customer on different levels. For example, emotionally, physically, intellectually, or spiritually. And this is relevant for the perception level valued in particular. Therefore, let me explain to you the pyramid of customers' needs. Next slide, please. The pyramid is an incremental approach to a stress-free and memorable journey. The required needs build the basis of the pyramid, and those are the basics which are needed to fulfill the passenger's requirements. Those needs don't influence passenger satisfactions, but they heavily increase dissatisfaction if an airport misses out on them. An example is as simple as the existence of washrooms. On the next level are the expected needs, which describe the airport's conceived image, and they can have a positive or a negative influence on satisfactions if they are available or not. At the top of the pyramid are valued needs, which in the end result in the wow factor, and ultimately passengers are positively surprised. If they are in place, the satisfaction rises, but dissatisfaction is not influenced if they are not in place. Next slide, please. And based on the pyramid of customer needs, customer experience has evolved from a pure service to an enjoyable journey. So customer service is defined as the support customers receive when they are using a product or service and is part of the customer experience, as you can also see on the left-hand side of the slide. Whereas customer experience is defined as the overall perception, which is created as a result of all interactions throughout the airport journey. And there are several reasons why an airport should pay attention to customer experience. First of all, it determines business growth, and an airport is highly customer driven, with the customers being the end user of the airport. Therefore, a great customer experience results in satisfied and happy customers and will also improve the brand, image, and reputation of the airport. This will ultimately lead to increased non-aeronautical revenues. An airport has many possibilities to focus on customer experience. It is therefore essential to know who the customers are in order to create little moments of positive experience along the airport journey. Innovation and quality management, focusing on continuous improvement, can also help to increase the customer experience. Next slide, please. Quite obviously, there are also challenges when it comes to customer experience. My colleague Alejandro will now present them to you and also touch on the reduction of the passenger stress level along the passenger journey. Over to you, Alejandro.
Thank you, Ellen. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here with us, discussing about the passenger experience management and how to focus on it. No, as Ellen mentioned before, it's key to provide a positive experience along the journey of the passenger and along the interactions during his journey along the airport. No, so the key challenge here is to satisfy passenger expectations, no, and provide them with positive feelings. There are certain, every passenger has a different expectation and perception, but there are certain common elements, common requirements, no? Either if it is an individual or is traveling as a group, independently of the age of the demographic or the class that he's flying, business, economy, whatever. So at the end, what are the common requirements that we need to satisfy to provide a positive experience to the passenger? At the end, passengers go to the airport to fly. That is obvious, but we need to address that. No, the passenger wants to go to the airport in time. He wants his flight to depart and arrive on time. And most important, he wants a stress-free journey. No, so the key challenge, as was mentioned before by Ellen, is to provide a positive feeling, a positive experience with a stress-free situation along the different interactions during the airport journey. No, can you please go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So in relation with expectations, things had evolved, have changed a long time. No, passenger expectations are steadily increasing. Before, the expectations or passenger expectations were easy to fulfill because they expected a stressful experience. No, that was their expectation. Going through the airport will be difficult. So in general, the customers, our passengers, had a experience, had positive feelings, experiences that exceeded their expectations. No, so at the end, a good trip, a good journey along the airport was the one that was governed by the absence of problems. No, so they never expected something that provided them with surprise or delight. For them, historically, the good airport experience was an easy experience, no, with absence of problems. Can you please click on the slide? Thank you. So that was before, but as mentioned, the passenger expectations are steadily increasing. So nowadays, due to the different environment and the new type of technologies and interactions we have on everyday basis experiences based on quick transactions. And the experience that we have as users, as customers, in those transactions, in those interactions, are personalized, are tailor-made to our needs. So if we can also project that that feeling, that expectation, and those results that we perceived or to air travel, one of the challenges is that the passengers expect to have their experience at the airport and along their full air travel to match the quality of the services available at other service brands. No, that is the key challenge. No, to be at the or provide services at the level of expectations the passenger or the customer expects. No, so nowadays is not a very good or an excellent passenger experience is not to avoid problems, but to have a stress-free, a hassle-free service at the airport. No, a stress-free journey. That is key, and provide them with surprising elements, and of course covering the basics. Next slide, please. So we were mentioning the challenges of the airport, that is mainly to satisfy passenger expectations and provide quick interactions, no, in the proper way, with no delays, with no stress. And stress is key for a memorable airport journey, because usually their experience at the airport is influenced by stress levels. We can go for situations that are almost stress-free to situations or steps in the airport processes that create a very high level of stress on our customers. If we look at the picture on our right, we can see a kind of diagram that shows the key airport processes from on top we have a booking, check-in, tagging of the bags, and at the lower end we have the bag collection. No, so in general, just to show the main steps, the main processes of the airport, of the passenger journey, and we compare that those steps, those parts of the process with the stress levels. In this violet color, we see the negative emotions, the situation of stress, and in green, the positive emotions. So we can see there that mainly during the government agencies' controls, passport control, security control, the stress levels are really high. On the other way, when the passenger has completed his air travel requirements and is ready to board, or he's waiting his flight, so everything is in control, everything is solved and done, his stress levels are massively reduced, and he's really having positive emotions. So the challenge is to reduce stress, provide positive emotions, solve and ease the flow along the airport, and simplify the interactions. Next slide, please. So we were speaking about the idea of reducing stress to streamline the situation, the interactions between the customer, the passenger, and the airport, and that is independent of the type of passenger. No, so what can the airport do, or the airport operator do, to reduce passenger stress? What is the challenge? First of all, I think it's very, very important to put on the table, to highlight the idea that at airport premises, we don't have one key stakeholder. No, we don't have only the airport operator. We have several key stakeholders that need to work as a team, work together, align their objectives, so to provide a positive passenger experience. No, so when we speak about the airport's challenge, we need to think that to work as a team with the government agencies, with our tenants, with our service providers, leading the way as airport operators for giving the passenger a stress-free journey, providing him with an ease and effortless trip journey that is absolutely reliable and predictable. Remember that the passenger wants to fly. He does not want to stay at the airport, no, our passenger. And we also need to provide him with care. Although we need to design intuitive processes, intuitive navigation of the terminal, we need to provide him with the care that he needs at certain moments, in particular when things don't go as expected, perhaps because of irregular operations at the airport, or because that particular passenger had a certain issue and needs support. No, so we cannot leave them alone. And last but not least, a positive passenger experience, a very good passenger experience, is also about enjoyment, a memorable experience at the airport. No, and when I think about traveling, I say, okay, I want to travel from A to B, but through that airport, because I enjoy the situation. No, next slide, please. So, what is the challenge for the airport operator and stakeholders? How can we reduce stress levels along the journey? As mentioned, is an effortless trip or journey. We need to align our stakeholders to provide an easy access to and from the airport. Key is wayfinding, as mentioned before, easy to navigate, easy to move around, intuitive flows, that of course goes from design onwards, terminal design onwards, but the passenger needs information on time and on the proper places that is not confusing. And of course, as mentioned before, the passenger is at the airport because he wants to travel. He does not want to, the essential thing is to travel. So these basic elements, or the core elements of the journey need to be easily solved. Also, the journey needs to be reliable and predictable. We need to provide simple check-in options, efficient security. Here, efficient security is related with what mentioned before, aligning stakeholders. We need to provide the required level of security, but we need to help the stakeholder, the security agencies, so in that way they can develop their activities in the proper way. No, the same with immigration. We need to provide predictable queues, how many minutes we are going to queue. We need to be proactive in these flows. No, the same with the baggage delivery. Needs to be speedy, and needs to be on time, and not confusing, very easy to solve the basics again. And as mentioned also before, passengers also are connecting at our airport, and we need to provide clear, simple, straightforward connections for our passengers. Something that is extremely important and sometimes is not directly related to technology, but just the opposite, with people, with staff, is that we need to provide care to our passengers to reduce the stress levels along his journey. So the passenger needs that he's looked after, no? That is someone to care about him. As is mentioned in the slide, he needs support at times of disruption. And I want to highlight the idea of disruption here that could be irregular operations for our airport or our transportation system, but also personal disruptions. Certain passenger has a certain need in particular, or has a certain issue and needs to be solved with care, with the attention of staff, no? And therefore, the availability of staff and availability of information is key to provide this needed care, no? The same with those passengers that require assistance, because we need to always have in mind that we don't have one passenger. We have several types of passengers. In many cases, different airports have different type of passengers, but at the end of the day, they are all our passengers. We need to take care of them as a whole. And again, aligning our staff and motivating our staff for providing this required care. Last but not least, we speak about enjoyment, enjoying the airport journey, enjoying our time at the airport. This is mainly achieved providing a sense of calm. No, I am in a place where when I enter, my stress levels are reduced. From that perspective, and if you allow me, as a passenger, I really enjoy Terminal 2 in Munich Airport because it provides that when you enter. And again, I'm speaking as a passenger. Also very important is to provide our customer with the idea of a sense of place and a cultural identity with the region or with the country that is reflected in our terminal, in our commercial offer, in our general layout. And again, the enjoyment is also related with the availability of staff and information. And last but not least, always staff to support those people or those passengers that require some type of assistance. Thank you. Next slide, please. So those were the challenges. Let's speak about the tools that the airport has to provide solutions to increase, to improve the passenger experience. Next slide, please. Ellen.
Yeah, thanks, Alejandro. So by using appropriate tools, an airport is able to influence customer experience, which we will show you now. The 5 pillars: environment, processes, products, services, and communication are the most relevant areas that influence the quality of the customer experience. And in addition, with the area people, they are creating a unique customer experience, either individually or in combination with each other. We will show you now from a practical perspective what Munich Airport does regarding the different areas in order to make customers smile and in order to create the wow factor. Next slide, please. So we'd like to start with the pillar environment, creating places where customers want to be in. On this slide, you can see different examples from Munich Airport. So there is our famous winter market. During summertime, we have had many surfing competitions with a standing surfing wave. We have had beach volleyball courts with beach volleyball pros and tournaments, also for polo. And then we've had BMX tracks, which was very popular for children. Then during grand soccer championships, we're having public viewing events. And with our also mobile partner, we are having exhibition and test driving races. So Alejandro, which one of those examples is your favorite one, and which one do you enjoy the most?
Well, as a customer of Munich Airport, I really like the winter market. As mentioned before by Francisco, I am from Spain, so the opportunity to work for Munich and enjoy the winter market for me is a really memorable experience. Also, I will say that the Audi exhibition and test drive of their new electric cars was also really interesting. Anyway, focusing on passenger experience and not my personal experience, I will say that the winter market is fantastic because there I see the sense of place, the culture of Bavaria, and next year I want to go again, no? And from that point of view, the winter market, as well as other wow factor events, first of all, are mainly for passengers, but also for the locals, for the people that live, in this case, near Munich or at Munich, for enjoying a memorable experience. I use the word memorable because it's like that, no? You enjoy it and you want to go back again. And something that is common in all these slides is that if we remember the pyramid, here we think that we are providing the wow factor, but we are not only providing that, we are showing an example of how this process of creating or improving the experience is developed. No, here the basics are of course developed and in place. Also the required elements, and also of course the wow factor, because here we have designed the experience so to have enough wayfinding information, enough security, enough staff for caring about the people assisting to the event. We also designed certain support facilities for the needs of people, and this is not only to providing a memorable experience and we forget about the rest. We can think in designing certain wow factor elements because all the required and expected services are already there, no? That is very important. And before leaving this slide, I want to highlight that something that is very important. Staff. We mentioned several times staff, and this is something that, of course, passengers enjoy, locals enjoy, but also staff enjoy, and it's good for everyone, no? So it's a way of engaging and providing a better feeling to our staff, no? And to also feel like a passenger, so they can have a kind of empathy. Next slide, please.
Thanks, Alejandro. I totally agree. So let's have a look at the processes, improving the airport journey through technology and optimization. You can see different examples here of Munich Airport again. For example, the e-gates, they allow for a touchless and seamless access to the security area. Or for the security checks, we have installed innovative solutions here, because liquids and electronic devices do not have to be unpacked anymore, and also faster passengers can pass by. We also have biometric gates, which also allow for a quick access to the security area when you have registered prior to your journey. So this again shows that by the usage of new technology, it is possible to really make the journey enjoyable for the customer. What do you think, Alejandro?
In these three images, I think that many of the comments that we did before are shown. First of all, if I look to our image on our left, and I see a passenger that has control over the process. He knows what he has to do. He has a very intuitive process, and he really manages his time. So the idea of the photo is no stress in that situation. The same idea on the rest of the images. So the idea of providing tailored touch points, very intuitive, very easy, are excellent for improving flows. But also it's important to mention that although it's not clearly shown in the photo, this photo is from Munich Terminal 2, surrounding this area, there are several staff, several employees looking at the passengers, so to provide them with help if they're required. So that again, for me, is extremely important, because there needs to be a balance between the technology and staff. We always need staff to support and take care of our passengers, because if something is not going as expected, because I am tired, because of the language barrier or whatever, our stress levels increase, and it can be a kind of cascading process that is negative for as a whole, no? So we need to be very proactive, very positive, and always take care of the passengers, and providing them also options. Just the last comment about this slide, we can see on the left and on the extreme right photos, personal self-processing situations, but also we see on the back a very well organized queue, so we have the option to go through a manned position. So it's always very good to have options, and from that point of view, staff is the pillar, or the central pillar, for all airport processes. Next slide, please.
Yeah, let's have a look at the pillar products, creating experiences and a customer value. So again, you can see different examples from Munich Airport. On the left-hand side, you can see our famous brewery, the so-called Airbräu. So this brings in some local touch. As you all know, Bavaria is very famous for its beer culture. So we are very proud that we have an own brewery here. And yeah, this is very famous around the region as well. So not only passengers come to the beer garden, but also people from around. Also, we have some local gastronomic offers, which allow passengers to enjoy some Bavarian food before they take off. And yeah, there is a high variety and always with a local touch. Last but not least, we would like to introduce you our new VIP lounge, which was recently opened in a new and very modern design. So again, passengers can enjoy their dwell time here and relax before their next flight. So Alejandro, what's your opinion on this in regards to customer experience?
Thank you, Ellen. Looking at these slides, I want to highlight certain key areas or aspects that are important. First of all, if we look, for example, at our images on the left, we have the image of the brewery that that is developing or creating a particular brand of brewery product there, that is directly related with Bavaria. The culture is showing, the culture is showing or reflecting, not showing, reflecting the culture. But I was thinking also below, when we see the brewery area, where the seating area, just for providing some context, that area is in between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. Is a covered open area, really very important dimensions. And the key point there is that passenger flows, people flows are designed so not to be interruptions. So if I want to enjoy this moment of calm in this place, I can, but that is not interrupting or invading the people or passenger flows. Everything is organized. So what I'm trying to say here is that the basics are there. If I need information as a passenger, I have it, and very clearly. And this was designed for. So at the passenger experience should be designed. That's the key message, So as sustainability, passenger experience is also very good to address it from the beginning, from the design phase, and always thinking that we need to provide the required, the expected, and of course the valued service. We cannot focus only on the valued, because we are going to fail. Also, if we look at the images of the VIP lounge, when I see the image, immediately comes to my mind the idea of the sense of calm, of a relaxed, stress-free situation. And the same with the images in the middle, the idea of enjoying. After all my all the things related with the air travel are solved, I can enjoy and see the local culture. So at the end, we always need to consider the pyramid, all the services that are required, because we can be tempted to forget about the required and focus on the valued, and we are going to fail. And sometimes, from the design point of view, is that one of the best ways to address the required and expected services. That is our experience. I think it's a good idea that we go to the next slide, please.
Thanks. So let's have a look at services. Offering options that delight customers. There are several ways how we can delight customers. For example, for children, it is possible to reduce their waiting time and allow them to play in our play areas. We have recreation areas as well as nap and meeting cabs, which are there for customers who are on a very long journey. They can go there and relax. And we have water refill stations. Sometimes we also have public music installations with local musicians, and most importantly, on certain events like the Day of Kindness, our quality management team organizes certain events for passengers, just to delight them and make them smile. And I really enjoy events like this. We also have them, for example, on Valentine's Day or other famous events. Or another example is when the holidays in Bavaria start. So the quality management team is there and distributes ice cream to passengers. Because usually it's very hot then in Germany as well, and it's also to make customers smile and reduce the waiting time. So, what's your opinion, Alejandro?
As is mentioned in the slide, the airport operator provides services and also experiences, no? That can be positive, but also it can be negative. That's is a fact, no? So from the point of view of services, we need to address passenger needs that are on a continuous basis changing, and different passengers have different requirements, expectations, and needs, no? Therefore, for example, these nap cabs and meeting cabs are there because the quality management and the passenger experience team detected the need, because at the end, this is a customer-centric business, no? We need to address the passenger needs and provide them with this sense of care, of joyness, no, joyfully situation along along the airport. Certain basics as water refill, of course, should be there, but in some cases it's not there. And it's curious, no? But it's not there. But for me, one of the key elements of the services, and I really like that is shown in the slide, is about staff, is about people. On the right hand below, we have the Day of Kindness. So we see an employee with a mother and her children. And for me, the image is very, very strong, very powerful, because it shows a motivated team that is not only doing the work, but they go the extra mile or the extra miles. And they are key for providing this care and joyness that is required for every passenger, because at the end we are all humans, we have our needs, we have our expectations, our feelings, and for certain people the airport journey or the air travel is really stressful. So reducing stress is very positive for everyone and has deep impact on the airport business, no? So we need to focus on the services that are required, and we need to detect those needs, which services are required, no? And always, of course, we don't need to forget about the essentials. Passengers want to travel, don't want to stay at the airport, but on the other side, we have certain people that are not passengers but enjoy going to the airport and going to the winter market, for example, or going to the restaurants at our terminal, and that is positive it's a positive experience for everyone. But we need to think about the needs of the passengers, their expectations, and we need to design the experience. That is key. It's not by chance. We need to design the processes. Next slide, please.
Yeah, then let's talk about the next pillar, communication, which is all about listening and responding to the customer. For example, we have developed in-house our own app, which is a travel guide for our customers. Then we also have our Infogate terminal installed in all over the terminal, so they create individualized and customized information for the customers if they have questions, and those terminals they really interact and speak with the passengers. And last but not least, we have our own robotic, which is Josie Pepper, who's also in the terminal and talks with passengers. You can ask her how the weather is, or where can I find the next washroom. So this is still in the pilot phase, and yeah, we're still trying out different things with her. So yeah, here again, for the pillar communication, I think it's essential for an airport to interact with the customer and yeah, to guide the customer through the terminal, yeah, as best as possible. Any comments, Alejandro?
As a matter of fact, yes. I'm looking at this moment while you were speaking to the image in the center, no, the one that has the title Infogate, and I was looking at the images, and of course, speaking about communication, I think it's a very powerful image because we can see here several layers of communication. Of course, the most obvious is our Infogate system installed in Munich Terminal 2 that you can interact with through a screen with a person. That is important. A centralized service, but with the interaction with a person. And of course, you have the option to navigate the options by yourself. But that is the first layer of communication. But also, if you look at the picture, you have certain design elements that provide information. The colors, the branding provide information, in this case, from our key stakeholder, Lufthansa. So related with this, communication is not the airport operator business. It needs to be addressed from a kind of holistic approach from all the from the perspective of all of the stakeholders. Also related with communication and improve the supply of information for developing airport processes is the design of the terminal. It seems intuitive. Where I see at the end of this glass facade, on the other side, I have the apron. So I'm always I always have a very clear picture of where I am standing. So it's very easy to navigate. And last but not least, from the point of view of communication, easy wayfinding and on the appropriate places needs to be addressed and on a continuous basis, because different passengers has different needs, and sometimes we find surprises. As a small example, many years ago, one person stopped me at the terminal because he saw me with the airport badge, and he asked me about his flight and his gate. What was the problem? That he didn't understood English. So certain things needs to be addressed, and the idea of putting a kind of universal or providing universal information such as pictograms is very important for this process of communication and easy navigation, because at the end we need to provide the basics and reduce stress levels and avoid backtracking. No, thank you.
So last but not least, there is the pillar people, engaging employees and aligning stakeholders to deliver a great service. And you can see here that we have great staff events at Munich Airport, and also staff awards, which allow different departments to suggest their colleagues in order to win the staff award. And I think what is the most important message here, that this in combination results in great teams, and this in the end also resulted in the award of Europe's Best Airport Staff in 2020. And I think concluding all the prior pillars, I guess this one is the most important one. Alejandro.
I completely agree with you, Ellen. At the end, airport processes are underpinned by staff, by people, and also we need to work as a team with the rest of stakeholders. It's not a one-man show. It's not the airport operator responsibility to provide a positive passenger experience, but a working together approach, and on a continuous basis, trying to improve and know our passengers. No, we need to think always that this is a customer-centric business, and we need to cascade that point of view or that idea into all staff there, because everyone is important. I think that this is from my point of view, the key message.
Yes, so we're closing our presentation with a quote: "Excellence is not a gift, but a skill that takes practice," as Plato once said. And I think this is very much applicable to customer experience as well. Oh, Alejandro, somehow now you're muted.
Excuse me, thank you very much. I was mentioning that if you allow me to add, at the end, this nice phrase reflects the idea of continuous improvement, of that passenger experience management is a continuous development, is a process that is a never-ending process, and we can always look for improvement. That would be for me my last idea.
Thanks, Alejandro, and thank you all for your attention. If you have any questions, please send them via email now, and also we are very happy to get in touch with you afterwards. And our contact details have just been shown, so feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Ellen and Alejandro. As you said, the presentation will be shared with the participants, and they can find your contact details there. We have time for one question. Unfortunately, we don't have time for more, but please send your questions that are going to be forwarded to Ellen and Alejandro for them to reply. We have one interesting question from Mr. K. Richardson from Barbados. And it says, how has the pandemic impacted Munich Airport International's ability to deliver the wow factor for each of the pillars of the customer experience?
Well, so first of all, due to the pandemic, there is for sure an increased focus on hygienic factors. For example, it is more important to provide clean toilets, disinfectant dispensers, and since passengers tend to spend less time at the airport due to COVID, it is very important to make the shorter dwell time as pleasant as possible. And this is possible in each of those pillars, I would say. What do you think, Alejandro?
First of all, I agree with you, but I will also like to add that still, although the pandemic situation and the reduction in traffic, passengers still have a memorable experience at our airport because they enjoy other things apart from this kind of special events. No, the wow factor is about a continuous process along the terminal, and not only with a winter market. No, so although certain activities are reduced or landmark activities are reduced, the passengers have an excellent passenger experience along the airport journey.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, Ellen. Alejandro, and related to this previous question, Mr. Richardson asked, has the ability to deliver that wow factor been in a compromise by a reduction in revenues? If so, please explain. Well, this assuming the revenue did decline due to the pandemic, of course.
Would you like to answer, Alejandro?
Well, of course, certain activities were reduced because of the requirement of social distancing, or of course, due to the reduction of passengers. So, and also in many cases, airports were closed, air traffic was stopped. So, what I'm trying to say is that certain processes or airport processes were mostly driven by safety or biosecurity measures rather than this memorable experience. So I think that comparing situations shouldn't be there, because we are speaking about different worlds, no, in this inter-COVID situation and before. But of course, certain events were reduced, although, and for me the key message is that although the pandemic situation and although the biosecurity measures and the reduction in traffic, the high quality service of the airport was an objective, was an aim, was a strategic goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro and Ellen, for replying the questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time for more questions. We invite you to send the question to our speakers to the email address that you find on the screen, info@ACI-LAC.aero. We will share it with them to know their replies. And we really want to thank you, all the participants, and of course, Alejandro and Ellen, for showing your experience at Munich Airport International. As mentioned before, we will share later today the presentation and also the recording that will be uploaded in our YouTube channel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alejandro and Ellen, and all the participants. Have a great day. Thank you.
Same for you. Thank
Have
you.
a great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.